NYSE-listed digital asset infrastructure company BitGo generated headlines as the first crypto firm to IPO in 2026. That's not the only news the company is tied to, though. Blockchain ecosystem firm Ondo Finance says that it is bringing BitGo stock on-chain to the Solana platform. Well, joining me now with more is Nick Ducoff. He's head of institutional growth for the Solana Foundation. Nick, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
How big of a development is this for the industry?
Yeah, it's huge. So earlier, in the last year, we saw some of the exchanges go public. Coinbase a few years ago. Last year, we saw Bullish, Gemini, others go public. Then we saw some tokenization companies go public, Circle for stablecoins, Figure for real-world assets. And now today, we've got BitGo in the infrastructure space that's gone public. I think it just shows the maturity of the industry and how there are lots of billion-dollar companies out there that are going to be able to access capital markets. And that, of course, brings more liquidity to and interest to the ecosystem, which will grow it, and it becomes a flywheel, which is terrific.
Why is bringing a stock on-chain on day one important?
Well, I'm really excited to share that Ondo has brought BitGo to Solana on day one, as you mentioned. So what that means is that in addition to folks that can buy BitGo today in their brokerage account, Fidelity, Schwab, or whatever, people all over the world, the 80 to 100 million monthly users of Solana, all over the world can now buy BitGo directly in their Solana wallet. And that is an incredibly amazing development. But why is it important on day one? Day one is important because it really shows the market where that stock is headed. If there's a lot of interest on day one, that again brings more eyeballs to the stock, and there'll be deeper liquidity and there'll be more trading in it, and that will ultimately help that stock perform well over time. Of course, not always, but generally. And it's wonderful to see a stock go public here on the New York Stock Exchange and also go public on Solana on the same day.
It is incredible to see just the action that has been transpiring, certainly here on the floor. Now, when it comes to Solana, what makes that an attractive venue from their vantage point to launch an asset?
Yeah, well, like I said, Solana's vision is to have all assets and all global investors trading in the same liquidity venue. And so what you have with the New York Stock Exchange is all of the brokerages that have that stock, of course, and their customers can trade it. But with Solana, you've got all of the people in the world that can trade that tokenized equity. So you're not just limiting yourself to whoever has a brokerage account. You've got the whole world. I was with one part of the leadership of Pakistan's crypto apparatus last week in Switzerland during the CFC conference, and he was telling me only a few 100,000 people in Pakistan have a brokerage account, but 40 million have a crypto wallet. And so when you think about that, if you're limited only to the folks that have access to a brokerage account, that's a much smaller universe of investors than those that have a crypto wallet.
And Ondo has announced that it's brought over 200 tokenized stocks and ETFs to Solana. What does that mean in terms of expanding what's possible for on-chain finance?
It's wonderful to see Ondo bring 200 equities to Solana. That now brings us to 250 because previously, Kraken, through their company Xstocks, which they recently acquired, had 50 stocks tokenized on Solana. Also today on the big screen, we had Superstate, which raised an $82 million Series B financing. Superstate has tokenized Galaxy stock and Exodus as well on Solana. So you've got companies like Superstate, like Kraken with Xstocks, like Ondo, all bringing tokenized equities on Solana. And right now, while it's only a few hundred tokenized equities among the thousands that are publicly listed, one day I'm certain all assets will be tokenized on Solana.
Nick Ducoff, head of institutional growth for the Solana Foundation, thank you so much for joining me here at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks so much for having me.